Now what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna work on the cart page. So in order to work on the cart page, we need to create a new page called cart. So I'm gonna, here in my project, I'm gonna create a new file here called cart.html. And then, since this cart will have also the navigation bar as well as the footer, we need to get the navigation bar and the footer from one of these pages. So I'm going to open up the index, and then from the top I'm going to copy the body. First I'm going to copy the body. I'm going to copy from starting from the first line of the page all the way to the body, and then I'm going to paste it in the cart.html. And then in the index, I'm gonna go back to the index, and then I'm gonna copy also the last 3 lines: the script, the closing tag of the body, and the closing tag of the HTML. And then I'm gonna paste it in the cart.html. But you need to leave here a big space. Now we need to get the navigation bar as well as the footer. So from the index, I'm gonna get the navigation bar. We have this nav bar. I'm gonna copy it. And then I'm going to paste it here in the cart, and then I'm going to close it first. So this is the navigation bar, and then I'm going to go back to the index and get the footer. So we have this footer. I'm going to copy the footer, and then I'm going to paste it in the cart.html again here, and then you need to close it in order to see where it is. So here, as you can see, we have the navigation bar, and then we have space, and then we have the footer. So now let me check that in the browser. So I'm gonna go back to the browser, and then I'm gonna go to the cart.html, and as you can see, we have the navigation bar and we have the footer. Now we need to work on the content of the navigation of the cart. So the cart will contain obviously the products that the user added to the cart, and also their information such as the price, the name of the product, the quantity, the total price, all of these things. So in order to work on the cart, this time I'm gonna be using a table. A table is the easiest and best way to use in order to create a well-designed cart. So here I'm gonna add a comment, and then I'm gonna say cart. And as usual, I'm gonna start with the section. And then in this section, I'm gonna give it as usual class, and then I'm gonna say cart. The class is gonna be cart, and also I'm gonna give it as usual a container, and margin top and bottom 5. And padding top and bottom 5. And then inside that section, I'm gonna create a div first, and for this div I'm gonna give it a class. I'm gonna say class, and the class is gonna be again container. I'm gonna give it a container to add some margins from the right and left, and also I'm gonna give it margin top 5. Inside the div, I'm gonna display a text that says your cart, and I'm gonna give this h2 also a class. I'm gonna say font, weight, bold, and I'm gonna also add hr below this. And finally, I'm gonna save and test. So I'm gonna save all, and then I'm gonna head on over back to the browser and refresh. And as you can see, we have this your cart. So this is the title of the your cart page. Let's now work on the cart itself. So below this div, what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna create a table. I'm gonna say here table, and then I'm gonna give this table first. I'm gonna give it class, and the class that I'm gonna give this table is the margin top 5, and also padding top 5. Then inside that table, I'm gonna add here tr, and for this tr, we want to display three columns. So I'm going to say here th, and the first one is going to say product, and the second th, the second column will display the quantity, and then the last column will display the subtotal. Let me save and let me head on over to the browser and show you how this is going to look like. So as you can see, we have here product, quantity, and subtotal. But we need to stretch this so that the table takes the complete screen width. So we need to work on CSS. But before I do so, let's continue with this table. So below this head, or below these columns, we need to display the first product. So I'm going to say here tr, and inside that tr now I'm going to display td. And in the first td, I'm going to display a div that contains information about the product. So I'm going to say here class, I'm going to give it a class, and then I'm going to say product info. And inside that product info, I'm going to first display an image, the image of the product. Let's use the one of the images that we already have here. I'm going to say assets, images, and let's use the first image, featured one. And then I'm going to display below this image, I'm going to create another div that displays the product name. Here I'm going to say P, and then I'm going to say white shoes, and below this I'm going to display the price. I'm going to say here small, and inside that small I'm going to first add a span, and that span will contain the dollar sign, and besides the dollar sign I'm going to display the product price. And then below this I'm going to break. Here I'm going to say BR, and then I'm going to display a button that will allow the user to remove the product from the cart. So I'm going to say here a tag, and then I'm going to give it a class. I'm going to say class remove button, and I'm going to say remove. Here I'm going to say remove. So this is for this part. Let me save first, and let me head on over back to the browser and refresh. And as you can see, we have here the product image, and then we have here the name of the product and the price, and remove. But before we continue working on other things, let's fix this table. So to fix this table, I'm going to open up the CSS here in the assets CSS. The style, I'm going to work on the cart. So here I'm going to add a comment, and then I'm going to say cart. So first of all, we need to work on the table itself. So I'm going to say .cart table. So for the table itself, first the cart, remember the cart is this. The cart is this class, this cart, and inside it we have the table. Therefore I said here cart and then table. So for the cart table, I'm going to first give it a width of 100% in order for it to take the complete screen width. And then I'm going to say border collapse, border collapse. And then I'm going to say cart product info, and for the product info, first I'm gonna change the display to be flex, display flex, and the flex is gonna be flex wrap is gonna be wrap, flex wrap. And for the columns of the table, I'm going to say .cart, and then th, And for these columns, I'm gonna change the text to align to be on the left side. And the padding, I'm gonna give it a padding. The padding is gonna be 5px top and bottom and 10px left and right. For the color is gonna be white, the color of the text. And the background color would be the orange color. Let me save now and let me check this in the browser. So as you can see, this is the head of the table here, product, and then quantity, and then subtotal. So this is the head. So we also need to work on the TD. Remember, in the table we have TD. The TD represents, this TD represents the image and the name of the product and the price and also the button. So we need to fix that. We need to fix the image and the product information. So I'm going to say .cart TD, and then I'm going to give it first a padding. I'm going to say TD padding, and the padding from top and bottom would be 10px, and from right and left would be 20px. And we also have the TD. Here we have the image TD, this image. So this image doesn't have a class, so we can access this image by saying .cart cart TD image, and we can change the image width to be only 80px because the image must be small, and the height also must be small. It must be something around 80 or 90 or maximum 100. I'm gonna also give it a margin right 10px. Let me save and let me test this in the browser. So as you can see, the image now is much smaller, and we have these we have the product information on the right side. Let's continue working on the design. So what else we want to work on is that we need to we are done with this part. But here we need to add the quantity as well as the subtotal. So in order to do this, I'm gonna head on over back to the cart. So in the cart, we need to work on the quantity. We need to display an input that displays the quantity. So below this remove button, what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna create another TD. So below this TD, but inside this TR, because we are still inside the same row, we need to create another TD. I'm gonna say here TD, and for this TD, I'm gonna first create an input. I'm gonna say input, and this input, I'm gonna say type number, and then I'm gonna say value 1. The default value is gonna be 1, and then I'm gonna add here a tag, and this a tag class, I'm gonna give it a class called edit button. Edit button, and here I'm gonna say edit, and then below this edit, I'm gonna display the price. So below this TD, I'm gonna display the price. It's not gonna be below it. It's gonna be on the right side. So this TD will be displayed underneath the quantity, whereas the price is gonna be displayed underneath the subtotal. So below this TD, we need to create another TD to display the price. So for this TD, I'm gonna say TD and then span, and span. This span will contain the $sign, and then here I'm gonna create another P per graph, that will display the actually I'm gonna create another span that will display the price, and then I'm gonna give it here a class and then I'm gonna say price product price. Let me save and let me here refresh, and as you can see we will have here the quantity here, the input and the edit, and we have the price on the right side. But we still need to work on the design. So I'm gonna head on over to CSS, and then in CSS I'm gonna add the following design. First, what we need to do is that we need to fix the input.